Let's see, I actually originally got waitlisted, and then they found my portfolio because they lost it, and then I got reaccepted. A&M accepted every one of my design credits. They accepted 45 hours of transfer credit, which were the max, which really is hard to do. And a lot of schools, very few schools do that. I know someone who graduated with me, I think he went to University of Texas, they made him redo at least 2 design classes. So, I mean, just the fact that they accepted every one of my design credits that was golden. That right there made me want to go to A&M just because I wouldn't have to pay for those classes again. So, yeah, they accepted everything pretty much.
And for the duration of the time that you were there, were there any other SAC students that you knew of?
Not that I knew of. No, I was the only one.
So this is a big part of why we have Sean here for y'all, and they've done outstanding work. And yet there have been consistently very few of you that are making even, it seems, the attempt. So again, that's why Sean is here, that's why Robert was here, and that's why we continue to do things.
Well, A&M actually is one of the lowest in-state tuition schools in Texas. We're actually we're less expensive than UT, and we're also less expensive than UTSA in-state tuition. So that's kind of a fun fact that I didn't even know going there. And they offer, because the alumni are so dedicated to the school, there's hundreds of scholarships they offer. I mean, hundreds. And there was hardly a student, like if you wrote a good essay and you had a good portfolio, you would get a scholarship. Even if it was partial, even if it was just a little bit, you get something. I got 2 scholarships while I was there. And all I did was write like a 2-paragraph essay about architecture theory or something, and throw in a couple project portfolio shots, and that's all you needed. So the facilities are incredible. I know all the pains you guys have to go through with the plotter and plotting everything on your own. And if we have time, I'll tell a little story about the first time I ever plotted at A&M. It was a 6-foot long.
It's only 12:23.
Oh, perfect. I had a 6-foot long poster, and I was terrified to plot it because I had no idea the process of, how you did it at A&M. So I go down to there's actually a plotting center. They have 20 plotters in one room. They print, they have some that print on canvas. They have ones that print on vellum. I mean, it's incredible. I almost started crying when I saw the room. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I have to work with. And so I go up to the girl at the desk, and I was like, okay, well, I need to print this. What do I do? I had no clue. I'm terrible with computers. Even to this day, I'm not near as good as I should be. And the girl goes, okay, well, what do you want, matte or gloss paper? It was my final, so I was like, I want gloss. I want it to be perfect. And she goes, well, I'm going to have to charge you extra. And I go, well, that's fine. I had like 50 bucks in my pocket. I was ready to pay whatever. And she goes, okay, well, are you going to plot it yourself, or do you want us to plot it for you? And I go, here's my flash. You do it, please. She goes, well, that's an extra charge. Okay, fine. Just do it. And she goes, okay, well, I can print it on the normal plotter, or we can print it on one of the Z's. And the Z's were the ones that printed on canvas and everything else. And I was like, I want the best. Give me the Z. Well, that's another charge. And I'm just like, I don't care. Just print the thing. So she goes, all right, well, it's printing now. And I'm like, already? Yeah, we just did it. Okay, what do I owe you? Well, you're going to owe us $7. $7. That's all it costs to print a gloss, 6-foot long, colored print. And it's big. I mean, you pay student fees for this stuff, but I don't think I paid that ever at Kinko's when I went to A&M, and I mean, it was incredible. And then, like I said, just the facilities are amazing. We have, if you want to, we have 2 laser cutters. I would suggest never using them, but we have them. We have 2 3D printers. So if you, depending on what you can build something in Maya, which is a 3D rendering program. Import it into Grasshopper, and it programs it for this machine, and it takes 24 hours plus to do, but it will print you a 3D object made out of little plastic strands that take forever to build on each other. But I mean, some people would actually do that for their process models. These little beautiful white sculptures would come out of this machine. It was incredible. So that one costs a bit more to use.
How are Texas A&M students received at graduate school?
Oh man, I made the decision that I needed a little bit of a break from academia after A&M because I'd been in school for a while at that point. So I decided to go work. I just finished my internship with the Army Corps of Engineers, but my graduating class had 2 students accepted to Yale, 3 to Columbia, 4 to Cornell, and 5 to UCLA for grad school.
How many people were accepted into the architectural program? Was there a lot of students in the program?
Well, I mean, the program itself is very large. I think there were probably about 50 of us that graduated out of an architecture class. I don't, transfer-wise, I mean, I was the only student from SAC that applied there, so I don't really know how many people got denied or accepted just because I just never knew. I mean, the only reason I got waitlisted was because they lost my portfolio for that 2-week period, but.
And so he's going to be the memory trace for any of you that apply. Right? You understand what I mean by that? They're going to remember Sean when they see the next SAC portfolio. And did Sean do well? Was Sean fully accepted? Did he become a student leader? I'm just saying, right? That might not be you. That may not be your MO, but that's what they're going to remember. And before Sean, I know there were John Gately, who did an incredible job and is in Chicago right now working for Helmut Young. I mean, I know there have been other SAC students before Sean. Why there have been so few since is why we're having this program. So, but you have no idea, for an Aggie, they have these strong memories, right? That tradition and legacy matters.
Huge.
So he, on the backs of some other excellent, and then I know if we go back maybe 5 or 6, more like 8 years now, Carol Slauson from this program graduated at the top of her class and went on to Cornell, where she took the first dual degree master's in architecture and planning in 30 years. She was a SAC student. So I think that they had already paved the way for Sean on top of his own outstanding work. And he's helped pave the way for you. So this is kind of a burgeoning tradition that's being set up that all of you have the potential to continue to participate in. And so, you know, your questions are good, but in a way, you know, it's not like there aren't a lot of students transferring. That's what Robert also talked to you about. You know, just a few that come in. Most of them have already been there 2 years. Where did you live your first year, and what was living for you like in College Station beyond going to Houston every other weekend? You know, it wasn't just to look at architecture stuff.
Oh, no, it wasn't. I had a little bit of a wild streak there, but the first place I lived in was far off campus. I knew a buddy I went to high school with, and he needed a roommate, so I was super excited to move in with him. Halfway through the first semester, he dropped out. So all of a sudden, I have this really kind of sketchy apartment way off campus. I did have a bus. Like the A&M bus system is amazing. You can live anywhere in College Station, and they'll bus you to campus.
So you didn't have a car?
I had one, but I never used it. Never used it. So then I went through a couple really bad, subleases. I had a subleases apartment out. But then luckily I got to go to Italy, so I cut off that lease. And then when I got back from Italy, I actually moved into this apartment complex called The Factory. And it was right there in Northgate. And if any of you know College Station, Northgate's kind of like our 6th Street. It's the social scene. It's a lot of fun, but it's right by campus too. It's right across from campus. And The Factory, I got to live in a studio apartment, very industrial, poured concrete floors, exposed air ducts. It was really fun. I, at that point, didn't want roommates ever again, so I lived by myself. And got to walk to Northgate every night, got to walk to campus every day or bike. Never used my car. It's a great place, Lots
How
of
expensive is to live there? Just generally, I mean.
The Factory was. There's a lot of other places in Northgate that are less expensive. It was fairly expensive. It was about $850 a month, but that was also for covered parking. That was for the access to campus. But there's so many apartments and houses around where I live that were range in all prices. And then the cost of living in College Station's nothing. I mean, the food's inexpensive, the drinks are inexpensive. It's just it's not very it's not a metropolis. It's not a giant city. So I mean, the cost of living is much less in San Antonio, that's for sure.
Were you
Yeah,
able to work-
question time. Yeah.
Were you able to work at all?
I had the option. I had the option to work, but I didn't work while I was going to A&M. I worked on my projects, and that was, you know, you live and breathe in the studio. We used to joke that that's how you find the, if you can't find the architecture building on campus, there's actually, you just wait till about 10:30 at night, and it's the only building with the lights still on. So that was kind of our joke. But no, we actually had 3 giant buildings at A&M. Mr. Bokuslav knows them all very well. A huge theater. We have great lecturers come in every year. Just really good facilities. Really good facilities.
Question here?
Oh, that was actually my question, was about the working.
Okay.
There are working opportunities should you want to take them though, right?
Yeah, I knew a
Part-time
lot of
job.
students worked for local architecture and even construction firms. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I decided to go with the Army Corps of Engineers, is because I felt like, you know, anyone can know how to design, but how do I apply that to the actual building process? How, you know, when I'm on a construction site, well, I know what the contractor's telling me as an architect to do right or wrong. And so that's why I chose to take that internship, is because I was on site 70% of the time. I was, you know, hard hat, vest, all of it, dust, construction accidents, all of it. But it was worth it because I actually learned why contractors hate architects. And vice versa. I learned both sides, which was great. So.
Can you talk a little bit about how you felt SAC prepared you, like what your strengths were going into because you'd gone through the SAC program?
Well, the SAC program, it taught me how to present, taught me how to speak in front of people. A lot of the A&M students are incredibly smart kids. I mean, like I listed the universities they got into, but a lot of them are a bit shy when it comes to talking. Socially, they're kind of in their own little bubble, and SAC, you know, they teach you how to present here. I knew how to watercolor. No one knew how to watercolor at SAC. I built all my models by hand. I mean, let's see, you can see just the, you know, to have craft like this, they don't have that at A&M. This model is 6 feet long, by the way. They didn't, kids didn't know how to do that. They had the laser cutter, and that's all they had.
How long did it take you to build that model?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
It was your junior year, no, I'm sorry, first semester senior year, you have to take what's called an integrated studio. And A&M is one of the schools that's really pushing this as something that should happen at most architecture schools. An integrated studio it's your 5 hours of design studio combined with a 3-hour structures class and a 3-hour systems class. They call it the hell semester because it is hell. You have to structurally prove every joint, every connection. You have to have detailed sections, detailed drawings, detailed axonometric sections. I mean, everything, detail is what this semester is about. But they do that to help prepare us for grad school. Because in grad school, you're going to have to take these structures classes, and a lot of kids have a lot of trouble with it. A&M, not the case. I mean, they teach us. This was the bones model that we had to make. We had to make a bones model before we made the actual model, and we were going with kind of a purist concept. A lot of we were kind of building off the Eisman grid, but purifying it in a more pure form versus kind of his deconstructivist take on it. The final model lit up. It was kind of fun, just to be able to have the.
So systems, y'all understand what that is, right? That's what's blowing on you, that's what's lighting you.
Yeah, electrical, HVAC, lighting, every system you can think of, they teach you. And it was not easy for me. That was a very hard class, but